Hi everybody, glad to be with you today. I wanted to talk with you today about some important public meetings that are coming up in the context of the City of Toronto's recently launched Core Services Review. Some of you may have heard about this, but I just wanted to make sure that you had information about opportunities that are coming up for all of us who are living in the City of Toronto to have some input and to let the city know what we think about these proposed cuts. So as a background, you probably know that the city is facing quite a huge budget deficit in the coming year for 2011-2012. And the city is saying that it needs to find almost $800 million dollars in cuts of some sort, or in savings of some sort, or new revenue. I mean, when you have a budget, you can either bring more money in or you can cut the money that you're spending. Of course, our mayor, in his wisdom, has already lessened the amount of money coming into the city by canceling the vehicle registration tax. That was a $60 one time a year fee that people who owned cars paid. So that, of course, reduced a whole bunch of money that was coming into the city. He's also proposing to cut another fee that is charged to people when they buy property. It's called a land transfer tax, and I guess there's a city portion of that, and the mayor wants to cut that. So he is doing things that limit the amount of money coming into the city. The other decisions the mayor is trying to push through will increase the amount of money that the city has to spend very unwisely. For example, he is trying to abandon the Transit City plan, and in fact has already done so. And so instead of doing lower cost things like increasing bus service on Finch Avenue West to people who are very poorly served out in the West End, or doing a lot of light rail transit, which of course everything's kind of expensive, but of the options between subways and light rail transit is much cheaper. Our mayor has decided that nope, he wants subways, he doesn't want anything getting in the way of cars on our streets, and so he wants to build subways. Subways are incredibly expensive to build, and so our mayor has both cut off revenue to the city that could be coming in, and he's proposing incredibly expensive subways and other kinds of things that he believes the private sector will pay for, but there hasn't been any evidence to show that the private sector will. So we are stuck, therefore, in our city with his bad decisions and those of council, his allies on council, and we are stuck with those, and now we the people are being asked to talk to the city about what kinds of core services do we think are really essential, and what kinds of services could be cut. We're also being asked to look at user fees. The city is conducting a user fee review in the next few months, and that's a way for the city to ask people who otherwise wouldn't have programs. They're asking people to pay the full cost of programs. Currently in the City of Toronto, we have wonderful programs that are available to low-income residents for free or for a nominal cost. The city is conducting a review to see how to make those residents, people who already don't have enough money, they're wanting to see how to make those residents pay full price for programs. And presumably if they can't pay full price, they don't get access to those programs. The other review that's going on right now, or is going to be started very soon, is called the Service Efficiency Studies. And that's a fancy name for high-priced consultants to come in, review all of the services that the city provides. For example, they've already looked at garbage collection. They would be looking at other services, presumably police, fire, but lots of other services, water services, all sorts of stuff. And they're going to take a look at those to see which services are delivered by the city, how they are delivered, and who pays for them. The goal of a review like that, of course, is privatization. And our mayor has been very clear that, and his brother Doug Ford has been very clear that they want to privatize everything that isn't nailed down, I think is the way Doug Ford put it. So these three reviews are really consultations, so-called consultations and reviews that are determined to look at how to change very, very radically the way our city provides services, what services the city does provide, and how much privatization or public-private partnerships the city is willing to enter into. And we need to be on top of this, and we need to be fighting back against these proposals. This is a radical departure from how Toronto has traditionally provided these things and looked at the provision of services. We know that marginalized people with very low incomes, people who are dealing with a number of different oppressive realities, these reviews and these cuts are going to hit those people the hardest. And these are already people who are going to be hit hard by federal policies. There are already people who are struggling with very, very low incomes due to inadequate minimum wage, inadequate welfare rates, and overzealous policing, targeted policing, racial profiling, and the rest. So people who are already taking a hit, people who are already struggling, particularly women and their kids, single moms, people who are new immigrants to the city, people who have not established themselves, people who are homeless. These are the very people who need the most help, and these are the people who are going to suffer the most under these cuts. So, what can we do? Well, we can participate in these consultations, although I must tell you that it's very difficult to participate in these with an open heart, because these consultations really are designed to get people to decide what to cut. We need consultations, of course, that would be more on the side of how do we work together to keep the wonderful services and programs that we have, and in fact expand them. That's the conversation we should be having. Unfortunately, the conversation that the city is proposing is the opposite of that. But in any case, it is important for us to participate and to let the city know what we think about their proposals. People at public meetings so far have been very clear with the city that they don't like the constraints of this consultation. They are unhappy with the way it's being conducted. So, there's one thing you can do very easily from your home computer. You can fill out an online review, and it's a questionnaire that takes about 20-30 minutes to fill out, asking your opinion about city services as part of the core services review. To access that, you can go to www.toronto.ca/Toronto Service Review. And at that site, you'll find a portal into all sorts of activities that I'm going to talk about. But at that site, you'll find the online quiz or the online survey that you can fill out. You can also get some tips about filling out that survey by going to www.laborcouncil.ca, and we'll make sure to put these websites up on the screen for you. So fill out that feedback form. You have till June 17th. And I haven't done it yet, and I'm going to make sure I go home and fill out that form as soon as I finish talking with you. There are also a number of public meetings that have been planned. Now, many of those have been filled up, but if you're interested in finding out about a public meeting organized by the city in your neighborhood, to see which ones are still open, you can go to that same website, www.toronto.ca/Toronto Service Review/events, and you'll find links to those community meetings. There are a number of councillors in the city who are also conducting their own meetings because the city-sponsored ones have filled up quite quickly. So I'm going to give you some information real quick, and I hope that you will be able to attend some of these meetings. Coming up on June 8th, Wednesday, June 8th, from 7 to 9 p.m., we've got 2 different consultations led by councillors going on. In the West End, on June 8th from 7 to 9 p.m. you can go to Bishop Morocco Secondary School, which is the southeast corner of Bloor and Dundas, in the gymnasium, and you can attend a councillor-led consultation there. If you're in the East End, you can go to another councillor-led consultation on that same night at 7 p.m. June 8th at the East York Civic Centre, which is 850 Coxwell Avenue. If you live in the downtown and want to give your opinion at another councillor-led consultation, this Saturday, June 11th, at Toronto City Hall in Committee Room 1, that's on the 2nd floor, from 2 to 4 p.m. You can attend another meeting, and they've given a phone number, 416-392-7916. That's 416-392-7916 to go to a meeting this Saturday, being held by Pam McConnell, Adam Vaughn, Kristen Wong Tam, and Paula Fletcher. So check that out, 2 to 4 at Toronto City Hall. There are many other community consultations. And again, if you go to the City of Toronto website and go to Toronto Service Review, you'll also be able to find some other councillor-led sessions there. For those of us in the queer and trans communities, the 519 Church Street Community Centre is hosting a community forum, and that's on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, June 7th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the 519 Church Street Community Centre in the gym. And we can talk about particularly services and events and programs that serve the queer and trans communities. And then the last one that I know about is the Jane Finch Action Against Poverty group is hosting a meeting with the Toronto Youth Cabinet and the Grassroots Youth Collaborative. So they're also talking to people on June 14th at 6 p.m. at Black Creek Community Health Center at the Yorkgate Mall. And you can find out more about that by contacting Sabrina at sabrina.gopal, G-O-P-A-U-L, at bcchc.com. I know it's a lot of info, but we'll put it up on the screen for you. The last thing I want to tell you about is the Commitment to Community campaign. This is being organized by the Community Social Planning Council, and they really want to involve people on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis in also taking part in these various reviews and consultations. So you can go to socialplanningtoronto.org/C2C, and they are hosting a meeting this Thursday, June 9th, from 1 to 5 p.m. This is one I'm going to be attending, and I hope to see you there. You can RSVP to that meeting to Anita by going to spt@socialplanningtoronto.org. You can register for the event online at c2cmeeting.eventbrite.com, and we'll put that up on the screen for you. The Toronto Women's City Alliance is also hosting, and there is another campaign just in the beginning stages called Stop the Cuts campaign, a grassroots neighborhood by neighborhood initiative. Email to stopthecuts@gmail.com for more info about upcoming meetings for that campaign. So lots of opportunities to participate. I hope to see you out at some of these consultations. Fill out the online survey, and let's do what we can. Work together, bring the residents together to stop the cuts and to reverse this regressive agenda. Thanks.